Ogolla and your family, our religious leaders, colleagues, leaders present, VCDF and the military fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. On Thursday, April 18, 2024, General Francis Ogolla, the Chief of the Defense Forces, along with 11 others, including the crew, departed Nairobi County to visit troops operating under Operation Maliza Uhalifu and to inspect ongoing rehabilitation of schools program in the North Rift. By midday, the CDF and his entourage had traversed Baringo County, Turkana County, Elgeyo Marakwet County, destined for Uasin Gishu County, where he was to visit the recruit training school, where I had agreed with him on certain benchmarks that needed to be adjusted. Unfortunately, this was not to be, as the helicopter crashed at Sindar Area Carbon Location, 3rd Division in Elgeyo Marakwet County, claiming the lives of General Ogolla, Brigadier Swale Saidi, Colonel Duncan Keitany, Lieutenant Colonel David Sawe, Major George Benson Magondu, Captain Sora Mohammed, Captain Hilary Litali, Senior Sergeant John Kenywa Mureithi, Sergeant Cliffons Omondi, and Sergeant Rose Nyawera. Indeed, it was a sad and tragic moment for us as a nation and for the KDF fraternity in particular. In hospital as we speak, our Lieutenant Colonel Kasaine Ole Koruta and Corporal Frankfurt Karanja, who I ask all of us to pray for them, for their recovery. They are in fair condition, and we wish them well. Over the course of my life in the public service, I have had the privilege to meet, interact, and work with many outstanding men and women whose achievements and visions represent the best of what Kenya has to offer. General Ogolla was in a very special class. Yesterday, as I thought of this function and what I was going to say, the truth came to my mind to speak truthfully about the man that lies in the casket in front of us. Because General Ogolla represents the best of what Kenya has to offer. We are meeting here for this farewell service for the first ever in the history of Kenya of a serving Chief of Defense Forces in office who has passed on. And we are here to say bye-bye to a consummate military officer, a passionate, accomplished, military commander, and a patriotic citizen of Kenya with great humility. Lessons on humility characterize the life of General Ogolla. Even in his death, he is giving us lessons and lectures on humility. This very function is the epitome of humility. And when it came time for me as Commander-in-Chief to make a decision on the next CDF, it wasn't an easy decision as it should. It's always a decision of many balances. But let me say this about General Ogolla. All the recommendations that I got on the next CDF and all the advice that I got about the next CDF did not include the name of General Ogolla, unfortunately. But he was a military officer with a distinguished career. There was only one problem: the events of the 15th of August at the Bomas of Kenya. And so, I asked General Ogolla for a meeting. And I had a one-on-one, man-to-man, come to Jesus meeting with General Ogolla. And when we concluded that meeting, General Ogolla told me the following: Mr. President, I have no defense. I will not try to defend myself. It was wrong what happened. And you have three choices: either send me to court-martial, or have me retired, or forgive me. That evening, I went home after that meeting, and I reflected on what General Ogolla had told me. And in that reflection, I thought of my own story and my own episode at the ICC in The Hague, where circumstances had conspired, and I was there. Secondly, I also reflected on the brief that I had been given when I came into office as president. And I had been told there are 4 sensitive positions. that of the IG of the police, that of Interior, that of the Director General of NIS, and that of the CDF. And I had been told, you need to be careful who you appoint into these offices because they mean a lot and they are very sensitive. And I had even been told that, please, don't be shy to appoint members of your community. You will be safe. I had made a conscious, deliberate decision that we were going to take a different trajectory as a country, where merit, professionalism, and competence must come before ethnicity. And I made up my mind that General Ogolla deserved to be the Chief of Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya. It is an appointment that I am very, very proud that I made. I am proud to bear the witness that General Francis Ogolla stood head and shoulders among the finest of exemplary public servants. It has been an extraordinary privilege to work closely with him, to benefit from his wisdom, experience, and insights, and to witness him in action, serving his nation with admirable commitment and providing excellent command leadership of the Kenya Defense Forces. As is tradition, every day, without a doubt, whether I am in country or out of the country, it is necessary, it is the case that I have to get a report from CDF. And so it happened. Every day, either we talked physically, by phone, by WhatsApp, and I can confirm that General Ogolla was the best that we could get. I am also aware that off duty, General Ogolla was involved in various services for the benefit of community, including youth motivation and guidance, and his extensive work as a Christian. Last year, on December 9th, 2023, General Ogolla gifted me a framed photograph. On one side was a Bible verse from the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verses 10, presented in beautiful calligraphy that read, and I quote, "Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, I will help thee, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness," end of quote. On the other side of the photo was a map of Kenya with multiple silhouettes of soldiers in diverse military roles. It was a thoughtful gift that embodied General Ogolla's personality as a patriot, a gallant general, a Christian, and a visionary leader. He understood the value of defense for national tranquility and the obligation of the office of the Chief of Defense towards national prosperity. When I asked him that 5 schools needed to be renovated, he didn't ask me for money. He went to his budget and asked his officers to reorganize the budget so that he could respond to the needs of children who were out of school. General Ogolla was always clear-minded on the strategies the military could execute and how to grow the Kenya Defence Forces. He greatly contributed to modernizing the Kenya Defence Forces with exceptional insights and perspectives on matters strategy. He was very passionate about the welfare of soldiers. And I can confirm that on many occasions, he asked for my permission to visit forward operating bases in many parts of Kenya and outside Kenya. In fact, I can confirm that General Francis Ogolla was one of the most traveled generals visiting soldiers in various operation areas. I, however, have one regret, that I will not be there he will not be there for me to see the transformation he had planned for our military. He had an elaborate, very well laid out plan on the transformation of the military. And he had briefed me that beginning next month, at the pass out parade, I would see, and the country would see, something different. I regret that he won't be there to see his plan come to fruition. I am, however, confident that the men and women he leaves behind, the commanders that he has trained, mentored, and assisted, will gather the courage and wherewithal to drive the plan General Ogolla had put in place. It is most unfortunate that the crash has robbed this nation of fine and dedicated patriotism whose ability, professionalism, and dedication was self-evident. His passing away, and that of other gallant military personnel, has saddened me deeply, and the nation so much more. As we gather here, I want to urge all of us to learn the lessons, the many lessons that General Ogolla leaves behind. I want to assure Mama Eileen and your children and family that the government of Kenya and myself personally will be there, but also his family will be looked after by the people of Kenya in honor of the great service General Ogolla gave to this country. Finally, when General came to brief me about where he was going to go, and eventually he told me this Sunday in Siaya at the Anglican Church that they had built as a family, the Bishop of ACK, the Archbishop, would be there to consecrate the church. It now looks like the consecration of the church will be there, but the ceremony will be about the sending of our brother, General Francis Ogolla. When I met the family, and I asked the family, and the family told me about what General Ogolla had wished, including being buried within 72 hours and many of the other things. I asked Mama and Joel, what was the nature of the conversation that led to General talking about his own death, surely? It marks the courage of a man who was ready. And he knew, even in the sermon he preached to us today, that life was mortal. For those of us who are scared of death, maybe General Ogolla again is giving us some lessons on how to be ready. Very profoundly, yesterday, many heads of state called to condole with the country. And one profound statement came from the president of Burundi. And he told me in Kiswahili, Mheshimiwa Rais, sisi wote tuko katika mstari. General inaonekana alikuwa mbele yetu, na sisi tujipange. It was very profound coming from a head of state. And as we do that, we still must do the utmost to make sure that we protect our men and women in service. And part of what General had planned is the modernization of equipment that is being used by our military. It is unfortunate that he passed on before we could accomplish the plan that we had. I want to commit to our military officers, men and women in uniform, like the way we are doing with the police. We now have a clear plan on how to modernize the equipment that is being used by our military, so that they can be safer and they can discharge the responsibility of securing our country better. Again, from Mama Rachel and my children, our very deep and sincere condolences to the family of General Ogolla, and on behalf of the people of Kenya, to say poleni sana na Mungu awafariji. Thank you very much.